very warm welcome to the session on fostering women entrepreneurship. This is a topic that's very close to my heart, and I think it's also a topic that needs a lot of support from all regions of the all sides of the ecosystem, to build this whole initiative and further the whole premise of women entrepreneurs in this country. To discuss this further with me, I have an amazing set of leaders who are there with me. And I'd like to invite on stage first Ankita Vashisht, founder of Saha Fund. And then I'd like to invite Shobana, CEO of Inogul, and Sanskriti Davle, CFO Tinkerbell, on stage with me, please. Hi, Ankita. Always a pleasure to have you.
Hi.
And I'm looking forward to very interesting discussion, and we'll have some fun as we end the session as well.
Yes.
Sanskriti, welcome as well.
Hi,
and look forward to welcoming Shobana as well. So as Shobana joins us on stage, we all know that while women constitute for 14% of the total number of entrepreneurs in India, the ratio of women tech founders in India is less than 10%.
Kritika, sorry, Shobana and Madhurima are just facing some issues with their internet. So once they're back, we'll just move them.
Yeah, I'll just continue the conversation with Ankita and Sanskriti, right?
Sure.
Because we wouldn't want to keep our audiences waiting. So
sure,
we'll have them join us in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Rupa.
No problem.
And the ratio of women tech founders in India is less than 10%, right? We all know that as a fact. And I think in terms of funding, Ankita, I'm sure you can share more details with us as we go forward, right? I think it was less than, absolutely less than 6.5% of the total investment that was done in the country in India, right? While I'm saying that, we have Madhurima join us. Madhurima is the director of NetApp Accelerator, and she's also the director of engineering programs. Wonderful to have you with us, Madhurima. We were just setting the context to the conversation, and wonderful to have you with us on this panel.
Thank you. Thanks, Kritika.
Yeah. So we were, I was just setting context by saying we have, the number of tech women entrepreneurs in contrast to overall numbers of women entrepreneurs is very less. And even the number of women entrepreneurs that we have are extremely small businesses, right? And then we constantly hear people say, how do we scale businesses? There is a risk factor. I'm averse to risk, and just so many of those things, right? So as I'd like to kickstart this whole conversation, to understand, like we all know that there is no magic wand to this. There are many things that need to be done to foster women entrepreneurs, right? So I'd like to kickstart this question, what are your views, and why do you think there is a lack of women entrepreneurs, right? What are some of the problems that you'd like to, is there any problem, or are we just thinking that there are not enough women entrepreneurs, right? It's definitely a view that I would need from each of you. And Sanskriti, if I can go first with you, being a women entrepreneur, right? What are your views, or am I just thinking there aren't enough women entrepreneurs?
No, I would say, Kritika, you're absolutely right. There aren't enough women entrepreneurs, but I would say that's a reflection of where we are as a society in general, where women's participation in the workforce itself is not equal by any means today. And therefore, entrepreneurship as a career choice, again, it's not any, further favored or whatever. So it's just a reflection of women's participation in the workforce. That is the first issue. And second, for obviously, building something from scratch and creating a company and, have it exist in its place in the economy, you are literally fighting entropy, and you're trying to make something be present that was not already there. So it's a massive effort, even in the best of times. And I feel that women who don't have, let's say, societal support or have other factors working against them, therefore fall prey disproportionately to hurdles along the way. That's my view.
So Sanskriti, thank you. And now we all are on stage here. So, I'd go back to where I really wanted to start and have all you wonderful leaders out there introduce yourself. So Sanskriti, while I know I started with you on this question, can I have you briefly introduce yourself as well, please? And very quickly about what your company does.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Sanskriti Davle. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Thinkabell Labs. We're a company that develops technology for inclusive education, and we're starting with Braille literacy. It has, obviously, there's a social impact associated with working on something so fundamental as education for blind children. But one thing that I really want to say here is that while not all social problems are solvable by technology, Braille literacy is one that definitely is, and that is what we're focusing on. That's it.
Right. Madhurima, can I have you briefly introduce yourself, and then I'll pose the same question to you after that.
Yeah, thanks, Kritika. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity. As you said, I head the NetApp Accelerator, which is NetApp's global startup program, and it is very close to my heart because I've been an entrepreneur myself earlier, so I can empathize with what women entrepreneurs go through, and I'll share some of it during the session. And I've spent almost 18 years in the industry, having worked with a lot of corporates and startups. And I think it's exciting times and a privilege that we are getting to have this conversation and talk about how we as a society can help women entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ankita, can I have you briefly introduce yourself and what you do?
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you to NASSCOM for having me here today. Always up for supporting the ecosystem and talking about women entrepreneurship. So I'm someone who's an engineer and then went into finance. So I've been in the private equity and venture capital space for the past 12, 13 years. And very passionate about women entrepreneurship, and launched the first women-focused venture capital fund called Saha Fund. I think globally also one of the first ones to really promote excellence in diversity and in women, right? Just by being part of the ecosystem and being part of the kind of corporate ecosystem, I realized that, I was given a lot of opportunities, but that isn't always the case. And you need to bring about a focus to make a change. So the idea was to really kind of invest in and promote women-led and women-focused startups. And also, giving a huge importance to tech-enabled and tech-focused, because that really enables people to scale up. I mean, given today's pandemic, we have seen how tech has really connected us, right? All these things, right? So, we talk about future of work, but future of work is today.
Right.
So very passionate about that, and really supporting startups in India, Singapore, and globally, through the fund and the foundation which I've launched.
Thanks, and awesome to have you here.
Thank you.
Shobna, would love to have you briefly introduce yourself and tell us very quickly about your company.
Sure. First of all, thank you for the opportunity given. Myself, Shobna Udiya Shankar, CEO of Innogle Technologies. What we are doing is basically our domain is completely different. We are just focusing the ocean technology. This is because of basically we are just creating an ocean infrastructure on sea to provide life safety for fishermen and also for the profitable fishing. And most importantly, we are just concentrating on coastal security threats as well as for the research domain. So this is what our domain right now. We got many award and recognition for the same. So this is what our company is about.
Thank you, Shobna. Yeah. So, Madhurima, I'd love to hear from you on your views on, while setting context, I was saying that, there is a lack of number of women tech entrepreneurs, especially, right? And so is there a challenge that you see on that? And what do you think is the reason we have so few tech women entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a question which I think a lot of us are asking today and trying to find solutions to overcome that. So, in my view, as Sanskriti shared a little bit earlier, it is representative of what we see happening around us, right? Even if you look at the workforce, the organized workforce, we see that there are far lesser women than men. And I think that is what is getting extrapolated into the specific areas like startups and entrepreneurship. In addition to that, I think it's also something to do with at a grassroots level, just because of the societal fabric that we live in. And I'm not referring specifically to India because this is a global issue. It ends up that some of the criteria that are required to become a successful entrepreneur or even to embark on this journey of entrepreneurship requires attributes which we do not teach our daughters early on, right? Things like risk taking, things like, telling them just go out, do it, whatever it is. So we kind of, the mindset is something that is not very conducive to having more women entrepreneurs. And I think that is what over the years, over generations, has culminated in the inequality that we see.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think I totally agree on that. I think it's the same diversity conversation that applies here as well. So Ankita, your take and from your viewpoint, where do you see some of these issues?
I think, from my viewpoint, just looking at, investments and entrepreneurship, and I'll also come to the corporate side. But basically, I think the fact is that, we need more women in leadership, right? Leaders and the right mentors are catalysts for huge change. So when I said it's our fund, as I said, it was the first fund, but why shouldn't there be more? So there should be more women in venture capital, because I was just speaking before this, that, when you are coming and presenting to a table, like a room full of, say, 10 men and talking about PCOS or, say, very customized lingerie for women, they don't use it. So they're not going to understand it. And therefore, you will not be funded, right? So there need to be more decision makers in leadership positions, understanding and kind of taking those ideas to kind of, scale and be able to make decisions to invest in that, right? One other thing that I think is really important is that public companies need to be made to report their diversity data, right? The minute they do that, they become responsible for talking about how many women they hire. They are made responsible to talk about how many women they promote, right? What childcare infrastructure or facilities or flexible work options they have given. If companies are made to report that, they themselves then know what they're doing, and then they will make a change to that, right? So I think all these things need to change, and this all comes from leadership again, right? When you see more women in leadership, you'll see many more women being hired, many more things changing within the workplace to include, like a crash, a daycare center, maternity leave programs, all those things, right? Policies change. So I think leadership needs to change. And for that, of course, the intake has to increase. And, for example, we are a country actually which has 50% women in STEM in the education, getting educated. But that falls to 30% in freshers. And then, of course, it goes to 10% in middle management and senior management level because of our society, unfortunately, or whatever it may be, because, we become mothers, wives, and then, all those things happen. But if we can talk about it, things can change slowly. And I think if infrastructure is there, we create an environment for that to happen.
I totally, agree with, this reporting of the diversity data. I don't think we're doing enough of that. Shobna, your take on, ground level. I'm sure you've seen many realities.
Exactly. Yeah. First of all, I would like to say in reality manner, I've seen so many women entrepreneurs in a real story, but they are considering entrepreneurship as a risk taker one. It's because they doesn't know, basically, that doesn't have any awareness. That is the only problem they do have. If you explain everything in terms of what is what, they will definitely come up with ideas. The most important thing is as Indian culture, how the people are treating women is, as we are aware how it is. But apart from that, if they are coming up with ideas, that should be evaluated properly. And in the same manner, we have to encourage them. So in that case, if you're providing a good awareness in terms of what is what and how we need to approach, that would be the ground level for them to take the opportunity right away. So I would say there is a lack of awareness. People are having good kind of leadership skill, I would say that. But the thing is, they doesn't know how to do it, how to execute it. That is the only problem they are facing. So
Yeah.
I would say that as a point.
Yeah, no, excellent point, and with that, going to jump back to Sanskriti here. Sanskriti, I really want to understand a little more. The journey has not been easy for any of you, right? And, so, I really like to understand, have you, I'd like you to talk about any two major challenges that you faced, right? Especially, have you seen any biases towards you being a woman entrepreneur?
So I would like to begin this with the caveat of I do consider myself extremely privileged. I am well educated. I have a supportive family, and my parents have always pushed me to be ambitious, which I don't think is a very common experience. With that said, entrepreneurship is always, like I said, entrepreneurship is always, you're swimming against the tide, and in that, um, I would like to share here that obviously, I mean, we are all here talking about women entrepreneurship and what are the problems, because we all know that there is a problem, and there are certain sections of people at every level that will view women entrepreneurs differently or lesser than or whatever. But I personally think that there's one bit of advice that I actually read on a women entrepreneurs forum that has stuck with me through the years, is that building a company is hard enough, so don't take it upon yourself to change society. But it is really important to find the people who are going to believe in you without prejudice. I mean, when I say believe in you, I don't mean blindly, praise everything. Not that. Give you a fair shot, give you the right advice, and and not discriminate against you because you're a woman. Because those people are there. Those people are there at every level too. We are lucky enough in the 21st century to live in the world where you can find those people everywhere you go. And so I would say our job as women entrepreneurs is to look for those people and then make sure we build our networks around them. That is one thing I would definitely, because I mean, there's no two examples or whatever. Prejudice is pervasive, but so is support, and it's our job to find out which is which.
Right. I think that was extremely well put, Sanskriti, and I think that was an exceptionally good point. With that, I'll jump to Madhurima and her views on in terms of the corporate support. Right? Have you seen that increase? Have you seen how it has helped some of the women entrepreneurs? Right? Is there, I was just reading up somewhere, Madhurima, and I was saying there are more than 70, 80 initiatives that are running currently, or maybe more than 100 that are running. But what is each of these initiatives really turning into? But I personally feel that a lot more corporate support can help turn a lot of this around. So your thoughts?
Yeah, Kritika, thanks for asking that question. And I think it is imperative, right? As we want to bring about a change in society, and Sanskriti put it so well when she said that it's not an entrepreneur's job to bring about this change, but it is the job of people like corporates, people who have who can have the resources and who can create a broader impact. It should be their job. And the fact that you see that there are some programs that are out there to support women entrepreneurs, while 70 might sound like a good number, I think it's minuscule. Right. So the good news here is that a lot of corporates, in addition to talking about diversity in their workforce, have started to recognize that given that startups are an important part of the ecosystem, the same argument or the same conversation needs to extend to women entrepreneurs as well, and to support them. Now, for example, we just started the Accelerate Her program, right? XER, which is focused especially on women entrepreneurs. And the whole idea of carving out a separate program has been that we want to ensure that there is that focused approach to ensuring that there are women entrepreneurs that get selected in the program. Right. So how I kind of put it, it's not a principle of equality that we are looking at, but it's more a principle of equity, which really in common English means that we want to provide equal opportunities equal mentorship, access to resources, technology, whatever it takes to level the playing field for women entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, whoever wins, whoever grows, whoever succeeds is dependent on various other factors. But we as corporates can extend that helping hand to ensure that they are set up for success. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is there is a little more focused attention that we need to give to help grow this part, the women entrepreneur and the ecosystem around that. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Ankita, I'd really like your views from a very funding perspective on this piece, right? In terms of the overall ecosystem, and where do you see, what is the kind of funding available, and what's the ecosystem around that like?
Yeah. I mean, so I was, mentioning this to someone else, but basically, even. So in terms of the challenges which I face, I'm going to start off from how Sanskruti kind of described it. I've also been very privileged in the sense that I, well educated, have a very supportive family, a huge focus on balance and work and everything, right? And during my kind of corporate career, also had the great opportunity of working with women bosses, right? Which I think really helped me get visibility and more exposure in the firm, right? Just because of that relationship that we built. But that isn't the case for majority people, right? And I wanted to share my kind of privileges or whatever the platform that I got with others. It's about, as you said, that getting a fair shot. Because unfortunately, that first chance is not given to many people, right? Everyone is doing something really amazing. And of course, it's your hard work, merit, uniqueness, everything which takes you forward, right? From there, you take it forward. But we want to be able to give a fair shot and a platform for women entrepreneurs. And that bias exists, right? Because, there are women who don't get meetings. There are women who get asked personal questions when they go for funding. I don't think any man has been ever asked, okay, because you're having a kid, what will happen to your business? But we always get asked that. So, just sharing my experience as a fund manager. So even for me, raising the fund for Saha Fund was a kind of an entrepreneurial experience, right? First of all, you're raising. So venture capital itself is a very, nascent investment asset class in India, right? So when you go to a typical family office or any kind of investor, you have to kind of explain that to them. And in that, if you want to invest in women entrepreneurs, they're like, oh, this is like a charity, right? Okay, we'll put you in our CSR bucket. So those kind of, you have investors who really understand startups, innovation, and they really want to kind of support tech innovation, but then you have all these other people out there as well, right? So that kind of challenges and those kind of perceptions you have to change. Right. Just because we are focusing on diversity, it doesn't mean it's a charity or we're just doing it for names, right? It's something which we really want to bring on excellence in, like how you do in healthcare or education or whatever, right? You have to bring about a focus to bring about excellence, and that's what we are doing. So I think those kind of challenges need to be addressed and talked about more.
Yeah, absolutely, Ankita. And, I couldn't agree with you more, here. Empowering women and women entrepreneurs is about economic stability, right? Building that whole stability for us. And from a social side, from economic side, I think it's a must-do thing. It's no more a good-to-do thing. It's a must-to-do thing, right? Right? Yeah. So, Shobhana, we've always talked about, a lot of women talk to us about saying, we're not aware of different government schemes, right? We're not aware of what are the kind of grants available. What are some of, is there some of the challenges that you faced? Is it, is there some space that you go to access information on this? How does it work for you?
Okay. Actually, I do have a group, kind of a woman entrepreneur network. Like, I just had a talk with them regarding this. So they said they're never aware about the grants. It's quite shocking for us because we have many grants and governments are offering many offers to us as women entrepreneurs. But the thing is, they doesn't aware about that. And I'm just giving a reality. Like it's one incident that I have been faced from among my friend group. Like she has invented some innovation idea, but the thing is, like she did do any patent related activities. That is most important thing whenever the innovation comes in, right? So she missed out. That's it. So they doesn't know about the patent related thing. So that's it. It's gone out. And the idea, the innovation, everything she has, now she needs to move to the legal related things. So these are the things that we need to take in care. Let's say, luckily, NASSCOM is providing an idea validation session, right? So it's really a good thing where it's going to be a first initiation for women entrepreneur to start their business. So in that case, it is idea validation process is very, very important. And apart from that, going beyond that, these are the things needs to be taught to them. Like majorly mentorship is very, very important. That was very, very lacking in terms of technical. So that needs to be addressed. So these are the challenges I'm facing in real time, not only me, but other people. Since talking truth, like even I itself doesn't know what the schemes are available in detail. Let's say I am fully into research and development. I really don't know what is the schemes are available. Since it does not come in front of us, we have to go and do some researches. So in that case, if you can provide that kind of benefits to them, it would be an added advantage for them to take a brave step instead of depending on anyone.
Right. Shobna, I'm going to come back to you, to talk to you about some of the challenges you would have faced, right? But before that, I'm going to jump back to Madhurima and, see if, Madhurima, what are, what are some couple of things that you'd like to see change in the ecosystem to building more women entrepreneurs? We did talk about corporate support and all of that, but if you can go a little more deeper into that and say, what are some of those things that really need to change from a mindset perspective or from a overall policy perspective? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. I think there's a whole lot of things that will come out of today's discussion. But what I think the most important thing is the mindset change, right? People have to start thinking. So let me actually take a step back. Where I want to see us is that we just say we have great entrepreneurs and not label it we have great women entrepreneurs. Yeah. If we arrive there, then we are sorted. And to reach there, right, the first thing is it has to become very natural to accept that women can be great entrepreneurs, right, which is a mindset change. So people don't need to look and point and put you in a bucket or in a group and say that yes, you are a woman entrepreneur. When I see an entrepreneur, I just think of the person as an entrepreneur. But when we see as to how to make them successful and realize that there are certain challenges which are unique to women entrepreneurs, then you help them on those. So I think that's the first mindset change that I would like to see in society. Treat each entrepreneur with the same lens. However, be willing to extend an extra hand if they need help to ensure that they have the same opportunities, right? Information dissemination, informal networks, access to all the other things that people get today for, granted because they are men. So those kind of things, that's the mindset change. Second, you talked about policy change, right? Personally, I am strictly against saying that, we need to bring in quotas or regulation or stuff like that. However, sometimes it is needed when you're trying to bridge the gap. So I was very thrilled when I, few months back read that Goldman Sachs had said that it will not take any company for an IPO until it has representation of women directors on the board. Right? And that is a huge statement to make. Can we today, commit to some of these kind of changes, which are very bold, right? Which will probably shock some of the people that how can you even think like that? But that's needed. And those are the kind of things. Can we commit to say, as any accelerator program, can we commit and say that, 50% of my cohort is going to be comprised of women entrepreneurs, so that I just say we have great entrepreneurs, right? So those kind of changes. And if the government from a policy perspective and can say that a certain amount of the business budget, and I'm not referring to CSR here, just to be
Yeah.
clear, business budget should be allocated to growing women in the workforce, and leave it to the companies to kind of say that we want to put it towards our corporate workforce, or we want to put aside some sum for entrepreneurs, given that today's startups are such an integral part of the corporate landscape as such. So those are my two top things, Kritika.
Yeah, very interesting. I want to move to Sanskriti and hear all of you speak more and more on this, and I really want to hear all the inputs. So, Sanskriti, what would be your take on, what are some of the changes you would like to see from an overall ecosystem perspective? And, where do you see the little push nudge coming from, which you would like to see?
So, I think corporates are doing a great job in terms of actually having women entrepreneurship be promoted. I mean, NASSCOM is a great case in point. It's a corporate association that's actually trying to push, entrepreneurship for women. But I think the major change is needed on a societal level. I don't have an answer to this. I don't know what it takes to actually drive a societal change, but there are certain professions, even for women. I mean, the first step is education, right? Like, it is every girl's right to be educated, and that is a change we are starting to see in this generation. Even in the most remotest of areas, people will want to send their daughters to schools. So that's a cultural change that we've got into. But what happens after education? Like, typically, it's okay. Education will better build you to be able to fulfill your familial responsibilities. But that's not just it, right? So I would say it would take a mindset shift to entering the organized workforce, recognizing that as an integral part of every woman's life. And then, I wish I knew the answers to this, but
there is no one answer to this, right? And that's why we're having these discussions to see what are some of those things that and definitely we don't have answers for many. If you ask me this question, I wouldn't be able to answer that, right? I would just say it's a whole lot of multiple things that we need to do, but is there those one or two things? No, it's a whole bunch of things. So Ankita,
I actually didn't take privilege to be here. I can see that took all of us individual privilege to be where we are, to do what we do, and I hope it doesn't someday.
Sorry, Madhurima, you were saying something.
Yeah, actually, there's one thing I do want to add to what I said earlier, and I'm hoping that there are some investors in the audience. My request would be that, make it mandatory for every investment committee, have a woman to be part of it, right? Not easy to do, but we should aim to get there. And especially if they are hearing a pitch from a women entrepreneur, and I'm drawing parallels from the corporate world, right? Whenever we are interviewing, we ensure that there is a woman interviewer on the interview board. And if there is a women entrepreneur who's pitching, ensure there is one for sure starting today. Don't wait for anything.
Right. On that investment note, I think Ankita will able to give us a lot more visibility on that front. So Ankita, what do you think we should see, that should really change as an ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, just adding on to what everyone said, and maybe I might be repeating myself again, but I feel it's so important to have women in leadership, right? That makes all the change in terms of, as Madhurima just said, and I was going to say the same thing, that we make it a point that, of course, I mean, we are women investors, but, we have a woman kind of mindset to looking at every investment, right? So if we're in the investment committee, we're making those investment decisions. I have an investor who's a very senior person from IBM. So he told me the story of how, they had this hiring drive, interview drive, and they basically gave out, I think, around 70, 80 offers to women. And literally, I think only 2 or 3 actually joined the job. And this happened 2 years in a row. And then they realized it's because on the interview day, all the people who were interviewing were men. So then in the third year, they made it mandatory that, of course, the people interviewing were women. And out of 70, I think 80, whatever people who were given offers again, I think 60 people joined.
Right.
That was a huge difference, right? So I think, making these workplace practices and policies more women-friendly, it automatically makes it a more diversity focused environment where women feel comfortable to come to the workplace, right? We need to make two things happen. We need to make more women leaders and more basically policies and environment for them to come to the workplace or be entrepreneurs. I think all that has to be done. And just in terms of, adding on to the policy and schemes, of course, I think corporates have a huge role that they can play. Even in India, we have seen the private sector moving the needle, right? In terms of what we see today in our IT industry and what we see it's thanks to the private sector. So I think they have to take a huge responsibility in making that difference. There's a lot happening in US and UK, which is being done by huge banks and corporates. I'm not saying it's already leveled, but there are a lot of initiatives and much more money going towards diversity versus, to be honest, I don't see much at all in India. Of course, there's all these, initiatives and small groups and everything happening, but I'm not seeing the millions of dollars being allocated to it. I think that really needs to change. And, there are certain government policies and schemes out there, but, to be honest, there's a lot that is said about them and it's, it's advertised and it's all there. You go and read the fine print, you can't even apply for it. In between, there was a loan or some business kind of scheme that SIDBI had come out with. And I asked two of my startups to apply for it. And they said, we don't even, we can't even apply for this. It's telling you that show your balance sheet for the past 5 years and you should be profitable. Right. I mean, startup right now, I'm not saying all are not profitable, but in the beginning, which one will be profitable? And they'll have an asset list, It was like, it was a very cutthroat, like bank loan kind of sheet and even more difficult. I don't know which startup got that scheme or loan, right? Okay. So there is no proper policies and schemes out there that people can actually reach out to. And I think thirdly is reporting. I again keep saying this, but I think if companies are made to report, they will know how many women are being hired, what is the pay wage gap, how many women are progressing to the board or getting promoted, all that thing. I think we need to increase reporting. I think reporting and content, women-related content, so that, women know about all the success stories about other women out there, inspirational stuff, technical stuff, all that. So I think this community, content, reporting, everything will make a difference. There's so many things to do, I feel.
Yeah. There is a lot to do. Yeah. And on that SIDBI thing, at least I don't know anyone who's got it and thing. So, so yeah, it is not a very easy scenario. So Shobna, we've talked multiple times with you on the power of community, right? And you have you're very active in your community of women entrepreneurs, right? I'm really curious to know from you, Shobna, in terms of, what are some of the things the other women entrepreneurs are telling you, and how important do you think the community is and networking within the community is important?
Okay. First of all, women will definitely help women. So that is the mindset everyone has. Okay. So in that case, whatever the opinion, let's say if it is innovative, if it is something wrong, that will be shared among the group to know what is the feedback. And in the same manner, we also will share about our knowledge. So that is most important, because in our situation, it's very difficult to have a network. Network opportunities is very, very rare when compared to women entrepreneurs. So in that case, they have to travel. Let's say if they want to, they can move on. But most of the women are facing a problem. It's because of the network opportunities. So networking is the one that we have to focus to run the business successfully in long run. So that is the main point these people are discussing right now. And most importantly, I would say awareness and upgradation of skills. If I say something new, they are just thinking, wow, what it is. They are curious enough to learn many things. But the question is whether we are giving a proper input to them. So that is most important. Whether it is valid enough in that particular time, in that particular current market, Is that enough for them to compete and to sustain in the particular market? So that is most important. They are just thought of thinking like that, instead of they're thinking the old story of what they are doing, what they have done so far.
Yeah.
Instead of that, they are thinking in an innovative manner. And most importantly, I would suggest women entrepreneurs to start their own research wing in their own company. Whether it is 2% or 3%, not a problem. They should have some research team within their premises to have innovative ideas, so that they can explore good ideas and they can open up new market opportunities, and that will create a huge number of employment opportunities also. So these are the interconnected things that we need to focus. So I would say would be better each company needs to have a R&D team with them to explore new ideas. So this is one of the things that the innovation can also improve.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important point that you've made, right? This is an incredible discussion, and time's just flying. And I just want to shift gears a little bit here. And it's not often that we have so many of you here together. And I just want to shift gears a little more about. For each of you, in terms of Sanskriti, you and me have had this conversation about mentorship and how important mentorship is, right? So I'd really like you to talk a little about that. And I think you kept pointing out in the conversation that when we were having while we were talking, at the backstage about, how somebody else has stepped up and helped you, right, in different ways. And I'm very curious to have our audiences hear a little more about that.
Yeah. So, I've been very fortunate to have great mentors. My parents are entrepreneurs themselves. So they are my sounding board for whenever, you want to know whether you're approaching something the right way. Because obviously everyone's problems are different and there's no one cookie cutter solution that anyone can offer to you. But it's so important to have the right kind of support. And I actually thought Shobna made a great point in terms of having your own community, just so that what's fair to expect. Yes, of course, this is challenging, and what not to take personally, or what struggle to expect, and that's a normal part. And also, you can call out what's not usual, like in terms of personal information or whatever, whenever things are not going properly. So I've actually have had my lead investor from Indian Angel Network, Mr. Rajesh Namnitam, who actually headed Dell IT services, and he's been very very hands-on, but also giving me the space to sort of grow and learn. And I'm really grateful to have mentors like that. And I think coming back to the point I mentioned earlier, that it is your job as an entrepreneur also, and definitely as a woman entrepreneur, to find the right kind of support around you, because it exists. It exists among your friends and your parallels, and it exists among the senior people that can help you, and exists among investors. And you really must find it, because that could be the difference between success and not.
Sure. So, Madhurima, you've also started this program recently at NetApp, and what is your take on overall mentorship, and are women open to it in the first place? And your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think this is a very individual thing, whether a person is coachable, willing to get mentored, and it ties into their ability to learn new things and the curiosity. And of all the startups that we've seen, I think that is there. That's a natural thing for an entrepreneur to be willing to explore new ideas, because that's how they started out in the first place. And then, as they assess the market, they see what's changing. They always have this inherent curiosity in them to understand what's changing, what's going to be next. That's the question they keep asking themselves.
Right.
And mentorship, fair to say some people are not that great at being mentored, but that is nothing that I've seen to do with gender. So I think, again, it's a very individual thing.
Yeah.
But the points that Shobna made about access to information, I think those are the things that we try to do through these corporate programs, right? Assimilate everything and then give it out to them kind of in a manner which doesn't take too much time. And this is what a lot of these communities do. So that's there. But I I really must say some of the, again saying women entrepreneurs I've seen are just simply fantastic.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better mentee, if I can use that word, right? I mean, they just absorb everything like a sponge.
Right.
You tell them, they'll go back, they'll do their homework, come back, ask you like 100 other questions, and then you just love enjoying that experience, learning from them while you're sharing your experiences. So it's a very individual thing, but I think again, as women, we tend to be a little bit more. Some of them, not all, not generalizing, tend to be like, okay, if the other person's still not making sense, I'll still hear, just and not be rude and say, okay, enough.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a bit tactful in that sense, and I mean it in a good way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think we also do that a lot of times as individuals as well. So, Ankita, your take on this from having a fund and a investment side of it, right? Have you seen companies just turn around with mentorship, and any examples that you'd like to share?
Yeah, again, this is more of I think, an entrepreneurial trait than a gender trait as such. Yeah, one thing that I can say that sometimes maybe women do maybe hesitate to ask. We aren't loud in the face. I mean, I'm especially like that. I'm very I always think, okay, I'll just do it myself and I don't ask. But you should ask. It makes a huge difference to ask and go out there and talk about yourself. We as women, we don't always talk about ourselves also, kind of blow our own horn. But, it's good to do that so that more people know about you, hear about you, and, get to know about your idea and maybe want to work with you, right? But, mentorship and having advisors on board, I think, is super important. We ask actually each of our companies that look into our portfolio, usually they do already, or, we find them a very kind of industry specific expert to actually sit on their board. Or be actually a advisor in their company and spend maybe that 1 or 2 hours a week or whatever a month, but someone from the industry who can really help you, not just any kind of mentor, to be honest, because I feel that sometimes that term is very loosely used, but someone who really makes a difference in terms of maybe helping you with the next fundraise, opening doors, in terms of business development, or getting to know a new client, or opening up a new market. I think if you get the right mentor who understands what you're doing, they can really help you scale up. Entrepreneurship for anyone is very difficult. It's a long journey. You need patience. You need guidance because you're working on something new. But if it's from a particular industry, I always advise, and we always want in our companies, that you have an advisor or mentor on board who is really helping you kind of scale up. Because initially, as a startup, you can't afford very expensive talent to hire. But if your idea is unique and you have which is why networking matters a lot. You'll find some great people who might be experts, and senior people who will join you as mentors and experts and really believe in you and help you. So I think it's very important.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Ankita. Shobna, back to you, and I want to hear your views on mentorship and.
Okay. In real scenario, consider myself as my domain is quite unique, as I said earlier. It's fully into ocean technology. For me, connecting the mentor is quite difficult because I don't find a specific mentor into that particular industry. Whereas I felt some disadvantages into that because as I started my research 4 years back, even I doesn't know what is what. But I'm having the interest on that time. I had my interest on that time. So what I thought is, why not we try of doing something innovative? This is what my thought. From there, we just started doing, and I faced so many failures. At the meantime, I don't go down again. I arise again to show off what is what. So in that manner, recently, luckily, I got Mr. Anand sir as well as Ms. Hadisha from UN consortium. So I'm under the team right now. They are just guiding us in terms of how to approach the investor and what are the gaps that needs to be identified. So these are the points they are just addressing me so that I can move ahead for further steps. So I'm just planning to take my product into the next level. In that manner, they are just supporting us. So luckily, so many people are involving in different domain where it's very difficult for them to find a mentorship. And most important, I would say, not only mentorship, we need a person who can also encourage, because in that manner, if we go down also, someone has to give some encouragement to make them lift up. So that is most important. They're not supposed to be going down in that particular area itself, right? So definitely we need someone to encourage, as well as it's a combination of mentorship as well as the encouragement.
Yeah. No, thanks for that, Shobna. And for everybody here, Shobna is a very firm believer of community, mentoring others and driving the whole entrepreneurship thing. And I see her doing and spending a lot of time on different activities around that. As well, I've been following Shobna quite closely, and I must say, it's
actually I'm just sharing my knowledge. That's it, so that someone can move from there, right? Yeah. So they doesn't know what is what. So you people will really shock, because some will come from the educated family, but people who are really interested to do something but doesn't know what needs to be done. So from there, we just started off giving some ideas, so that we have created. I'm happy that I've guided 4 women entrepreneurs to the next stage. So just to share my knowledge, that's it. I didn't do anything much. I just guided him in terms of scheme. This is what the scheme is, and this is what the grant is. This is how you need to take the legal step. So this is how I learned. So from there, I just shared. That's it. Nothing great.
Excellent. No, see, this is exactly what we do, right? We do all this and say nothing much. We just did just this little bit, right? So, Madhurima, on that note of, inspiration, right? I'm sure there are many things that make us wake up in the morning and go to work or to do what we're doing, right? As a leader, I really like our audiences to know from you what inspires you as Madhurima as a person.
It is when I hear small stories from our entrepreneurs, or when they just send a small message and say that we are sharing this first with you because you were the first believers in us. Those moments just set the the inspiration for the next 2 years, I would say. Right, when I get these just an ad hoc call from one of the founders and say, Madhurima, I'm just facing this challenge, and I thought I could ask you just this quickly to help me out on this, or to help me think through this. That at that moment, right, you feel, I personally feel honored. I feel that I'm making a positive impact in somebody's life.
Right.
I would get up every day in the morning and say, what I'm doing today is going to help someone somewhere down the line. And that just, makes me put my heart and soul into it. And then when over the months, days, years, whatever it is, you get these small instances when such things happen, it just reinforces the belief and gives me renewed energy. And I always tell, everyone I meet that, you should believe in yourself, but you should find someone who believes in you more than you do. And I hope I can be that person for somebody. So that drives me. Yeah.
Super. Sanskriti, what drives you? What inspires you as Sanskriti as a person?
So, making a difference with the work I do is what really drives me. For example, the first Braille Smart class, Annie Smart class that we set up in India was in Ranchi. It actually got a lot of accolades. It was commended by the Niti Aayog and the Prime Minister and all that. But what happened was 1 year later, after we had installed the Annie Smart class, we had enrollment going up in the school because families from nearby villages who had the blind children. They had heard about some new technology in the blind school, and they then thought that, okay, I should send my child to school. My child will learn some technology. They will do something and they'll get educated. So it was a drastic mindset change, and it's just the start of a ripple effect. And I find that extremely fulfilling. Where I'm an engineer, so my work is very very linked to products and figuring out the way they succeed in the world. And this is what I consider success. So whenever anything like that happens, like seeing a mindset or social manifestation of the tech you built, is incredibly inspiring for me.
Super. Ankita, I definitely want to hear from you. What inspires you to do what you do, and what drives you?
Yeah, I think for me, I really I'm the kind of person who wants everyone to have an equal opportunity. I love like sharing whatever I've had or whatever I can do or whatever I can give with everybody else. And I think that is what inspires me. If I can do it, why can't somebody else? And how can I help enable that other person to make it happen as well? How can I create an impact which will not only help them, but help their families, their societies, and the economy, right? I think if we really enable women have these amazing innate characteristics to not only help themselves, but have a huge kind of ripple effect in enhancing their family, societies, the workplace that they work in, and economies, right? So I think if I can make a difference with a few, they will go and make a huge kind of change and difference for the entire kind of set of people. I think that difference, if I can make, and if I can make that positive community towards this, and change perceptions about women entrepreneurs. I think, as Madhurima said, right, even for me, I'm waiting for the day when there is, you don't need necessarily a women's day or a women entrepreneurship special day, right? Because suddenly it is an equal playing field. So I'm waiting for that day, and so if I can contribute to that and be someone who people can look up to and reach out to, I'll be more than happy. That's my kind of everyday inspiration.
Very nice, very nice. Shobna, what inspires you? I know there are many things, but yeah, I'd definitely like to hear from you on what inspires you. Yeah.
Okay, frankly telling, yes.
Okay.
Now I can, because yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Now we can hear you. Yes.
Clear?
Yeah, we can, Shobna. Hello? Okay, I think we lost Shobna briefly. Yeah, we did. Like I always say that we do need a cheerleading squad, and community is very important for us and for the whole community to grow. The whole community networking piece is extremely important, right? And I think the more we come together and build this together, I think the whole collaborative effort is going to be double. The results are going to be 3 times 4 times more when we collaborate and do a few more things. And I think that's where it becomes very important for us to collaborate a lot more as we go along. Shobna, are you able to? Yeah,
I can hear you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you. So do you want to share with us what inspires you?
Yeah. Actually, I never found my potential. When I realized it's like, what's more precious than life itself, right? So in that manner, like I started working, like saving the fisherman's life. It's really a wonderful thing. I realized, I felt like how the family members are feeling about that. So in that manner, like I was pretty quite surprised, like wow, Shobna, you have done a great job. I appreciated myself because the life is more important any other thing, right? So in that case, like I felt, wow, it's a great thing that I have done. So this makes me love myself. That's it. That's what I can say.
Excellent.
I can save someone's life, right? So
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the work you do is phenomenal, and a lot more success to you, right? It's amazing, but we've come down to the last 10 minutes of our conversation, and I'd like to use this last 10 minutes of the conversation, and Madhurima, we'll go with you first in terms of you have immense amount of experience from a corporate side, from building startups and and holding them. What is some of the advice that you would give for people here today in terms of women entrepreneurs from your experience? I'm not saying just women entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs overall. What would be your advice?
Yeah, I'll just share that, but I will repeat it because I think that is the most important piece of advice that I got and I share with people is that believe in yourself. Especially as an entrepreneur, you'll find many people many detractors in your journey who say, this will not work, that will not work. This is, your lot of negative things, but overcome that. You have a dream, focus on that, find the people who will believe in you, take take their help to come over these low times in life. It's a lonely journey, I've been through it, so I can empathize, but find that one person who will believe in you more than you do and catch on to them and just move forward, don't look back.
Brilliant. Sanskriti, what would be your advice to women entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs?
Yeah, pretty much what Madhurima said. I mean, that cheerleader could be anyone. It could be your mentor, it could be your investor, your first customer, your co-founder, anybody. But it's so important. And I mean, in particular for women entrepreneurs, what you're essentially combating on top of all the other challenges of being an entrepreneur is sexism. So yeah, choose your tribe carefully, and yeah, that there are enough people out there that don't make sexism an issue at all. So yeah, surround yourself with them.
Right. Ankita, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think similar to everyone, I think it's just important. Most important is to believe in yourself and, kind of have that confidence. There'll be a lot of people giving you a lot of mixed feedback. And of course, take it also in an open way, in an open mind way, in terms of whatever it may be. But, if you believe that what you're working on is, unique, it is much needed. And, it can be scaled up, believe in it and take it forward. And, ask for help, reach out to people, network, talk about yourself, talk about your idea, get more people to believe in you, gain momentum. And, it's, of course, get, mentors and advisors who are experts, but even your friends and family is a huge support. And, more importantly, take care of your mental health as well. It's very difficult, and people say so many things. And, now this pandemic, it's, new experiences come out of it, right?
Right.
So take care of yourself. It's very important, but just believe and, go forward, and, things fall into place. It's, you hear these, stories about, say 1 or 2 founders, they are 1 in a million, and they have also worked over 10, 15 years, and suddenly when they become successful, their story comes out. Nobody captures the journey. Everyone's journey is really hard, right? So don't think that you're not like them. Anybody can become anyone.
Right. Shobna, from your end, what would be your advice?
Yeah, I would say not advice, but it should be better if you follow these things. So the thing is like first the thing is like willingness to ask and accept the help is most important. So don't hesitate. So whatever the idea you comes in, just try on your own. So this is where the people are getting stuck up. So try and see whether it is working out or not. If not, then try other ideas. because if you stop in that manner means you can't come up. So go ahead and try and keep on trying. In the meantime, like we do have many programs, like as I said, Ms. Kritika, like and Madhurima. Yes, they are just they are the people just organizing and guiding you all. So just go ahead and explore the things. Definitely, you people can get some support. Definitely, because since we also started struggling in an initial stage, but now we are in the stage where we can give some knowledge to other people. So you people have to be upgraded. So that is most important. Otherwise, you will be outdated. So be sure that you need to be upgraded enough to handle all the tasks. So you should have to have the knowledge of current affairs, what is going on. So this is most important. Yeah, that's what I say.
Okay, I think that's excellent. Inputs for our women entrepreneurs today. I'd just like to spend the last couple of minutes, just winding down a bit and getting to know all of you before. So I have a surprise rapid fire up here for all of you, and and here, fine. I'll give you a choice. Who wants to go first?
Okay, let me try.
Okay, done. So Shobna, you have to give me one word that comes to your mind when I call out this word.
Okay.
Right? Success.
Shobna.
Excellent. Profit.
Government.
Strength.
My husband.
Reward.
Saving the life of the fisherman would be a reward for us.
Super.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sanskriti, shall we go with you next?
Sure, that's good.
Okay, one word that comes to your mind when I say this. Pace.
Ambition.
Pandemic.
The opposite of pace.
Change.
Constant.
Great. Risk.
Inevitable.
Okay. Thanks. Very some of that was very profound. And Madhurima, I come back to you.
Okay.
Mistake.
Happens.
Crisis.
Overcome it.
Opportunity.
Always available.
Entrepreneur.
Highly respected.
Excellent. And so, Ankit, I'm changing this a little for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you a choice to here. So, bold moves or calculated risks?
Bold moves.
Profits versus brand?
Brand.
Focus versus diversity?
Focus and diversity.
That's good.
Making money versus learning?
Learning.
Great. Okay. So that was my rapid fire, and I think I don't have a current bag to any of you, but this was an excellent discussion, and I think lots more to be done, lots more to be taken to the next level. And like I said, I think it's just collaboration that's going to help us drive into this, right? I think even from an ecosystem point of view, there is a lot of push, there is a lot of interest, right? But I think certain things do need course correction, and sometimes to just go there and put it out there and say this needs to be done in a certain fashion, I think has to be done. I don't think there's too much of choice for us, but because I also think like the diversity journey that we've done, and that's a conversation that we've had for many years, but even at that I think we're just scratching the surface of the overall diversity conversation, and I think we will see the same journey happening here with women entrepreneurs. But I think the inputs that I got from each of you today, right, ask for help, put out your intent there, right, keep yourself updated, power of community, power of networking, and I think Ankita made some excellent points on, reporting and putting numbers out there. So I think it's a journey that we'll all continue to make together. And I think there'll be never-ending questions. So I do hope to personally, stay in touch with each of you. And I would request, people who are listening to this to reach out to us for any support that they would need. And, I think each of us can contribute in many different ways.
Definitely.
And, before I wrap up, I'd like to just see if any of you have any last comments to make. More than happy to hear you out on any last comments that you have.
Thank you for such an amazing session. Yeah.
I just want to share. Somebody had shared if and this is take it in a light manner. If Lehman Brothers was Lehman Brothers and sisters, it wouldn't have gone down. So we need more women in the as entrepreneurs for this ecosystem to continue growing.
Right. Shobna, there's one question that's popped up, and any of you can take it, whoever can. So what do you suggest to women who hold back their journey towards entrepreneurship due to guilt or fear of being ridiculed for not paying enough attention to family? Anyone wants to answer that?
If I may.
Yes, please.
For those of you who've not seen the movie Mom, I think you should see. It's a classic example which portrays the story of a woman from a very conventional background who became an entrepreneur. So, you find this everywhere. Overcome that guilt. Very easy to say, but take small steps. Just do something in your everyday life which takes you one step towards that goal, and it'll happen. It might take longer than others, but it'll happen. So, see that movie if you haven't. It really touched my heart.
Very nice. So Divya, I think there is no short answer to that, right? From a societal side of things, when we do look at it, this is the step-by-step progress that we think we should make, and this is where today all of them on the panel were talking about how do we help build that mindset change over the years, right? What is it that we're teaching our sons? What is it that we're teaching our daughters? I think it's going to take some years, but we will see that change. And only when that changes, we will also, hold back on our guilt and fear of being ridiculed.
Exactly right. I agree with that.
Yeah. So this has been fantastic. Sorry, Madhurima, you want to say something?
No, I missed that Sridevi. I'm a fan of Sridevi. That movie is English. That's the one you need to see.
English. Right.
Oh, yeah. That's the one.
Right. Excellent. So thank you so much, everyone. And, this has been incredible learning for me as well. And I really want to thank each of you for taking so much time out and sharing your experiences, your thoughts. I think it's been phenomenal. Thank you so much. And look forward to, meeting all of you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Ms. Kritika.
Thank you.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Bye. See you. Take care. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.